everyone, it's Emily. Today's video is going to be my May TBR. I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I'm planning on reading, plus the one that we're going to kind of choose together. So if you want to buddy read it with me, you can do so. So like every month, I will be picking up a big book to read. If you haven't seen it, I have a video where basically one of my goals this year is to read big books and to try and help me stop being intimidated by them. I have to force myself to choose one every month. So this month, we're going to be reading, if you want to read it with me, Pandora's Star. So Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton. I genuinely do not know anything about this except that it's a duology. This is the first book, and the author is really well known as a sci-fi author. So I'm going to be jumping into it. To be honest, I'm really scared because it's almost 1,000 pages. It doesn't look like it, but it's really, really, really big. But I've heard so many great things about it, and it seems to be a very popular sci-fi, so as much as I'm scared about it, we're still gonna try it this month. Honestly, I have a feeling this is probably gonna be the first month that I failed to read the whole book that is so big, because I have so many other books that I really wanted to read, and this one, since I don't know anything pretty much about it, it's gonna be hard to convince myself to read it over the other ones, but I need to make it a priority. But technically my goal this year was to read 10 big books, and I'm already at like 7 or 8. I really didn't realize that I've read that many already, so I probably should up my goal to like 20 or 25 or something a little bigger. So boom, this is our first book. I also wanted to mention I'm currently pre-filming this a little bit because I'm not going to have time this weekend. So I'm sure I'm going to have finished probably another one of these before the end of the month, but I wanted to just put back the books that were in my TBR last month. This month, I'm still hoping to read them. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which is a YA fantasy. I'm still a little scared on how it's gonna go. I'm still wanting to read A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking, which I was waiting for it as an audiobook, didn't realize I had it, and now I don't have it anymore, and I would have to wait like a bajillion years to listen to it as an audiobook, so that's why I didn't read it this month. But and last but not least, I'm going to be including this one, The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson. This is technically the 4th book in the whole Miss Bourne series, even though it's the first book in the second trilogy. Actually, it's going to be 4 books. Never mind. So yes, I really just need to continue reading Brandon Sanderson. It's been too long. Now let's go with new stuff that I want to read that you haven't seen on my TBR yet. I'm going to start with the 2 ebooks that I'm hoping to read. The first one is Space Opera by Catherine M. Vellante. This book is supposed to be like a funny sci-fi, and I feel like funny books can be really hit and miss. Like what I think is funny might not be, or probably wouldn't be, what you think is funny. But people have been comparing it to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I've still yet to read. I've read the first chapter and I like try a chapter tag, and I mean the first chapter wasn't enough to decide if it was for me or not, but it's been recommended to people that like it. Otherwise it might be hit or miss, but it's a brand new book, so I wanted to read it to be able to let you know if I think it's worth the read or not. Basically it's an adult sci-fi, and there's supposed to be like that whole competition that it's a like part gladiator, part beauty pageant, so I have no idea what it's actually supposed to be about, so I will be letting you know, but the cover is really attractive. Basically one of the reasons I wanted to read it. The next one, I was really intrigued by the premise. It's The Oracle Year by Charles Soule. That one was published in the beginning of, I was going to say this month, but if I'm posting this, it's still this month, so beginning of April. And the premise of this one seemed really interesting because you're following a 20-something-year-old New Yorker, and he wakes up one day and he can predict the future. He knows what's going to be happening. It's a brand new book. I will be letting you know if it's worth the read or not. Now let's go to the physical books that I want to read. The first one is Run by Blake Crouch. I have been trying to read more Blake Crouch books because I loved Dark Matter, and then I loved the Wayward Pine series, and then I read Bad Behavior by him. Hated it. So I'm not a little scared, but I have 2 more of his books on my shelf, so I'm hoping that maybe this is gonna be another hit. It's another thriller. Don't like to know too much about it. I'm really hoping I'm gonna like this. But this one's fairly short. It's like less than 300 pages, so fingers crossed I'm gonna enjoy this. I've clearly been in a sci-fi mood, so another one I wanted to read is Locked In by John Scalzi. This one is in a world where there's a virus that is super contagious, and for most people they get the symptom of the flu, but then there's 1% of the population that ends up being locked into their own body. and then like later on there's a murder and then there's an investigation. So that's pretty much all I know about it, and I really wanted to read it, so I should get to it. I've had it on my shelves for a little while, so I wanted to finally read it. Next sci-fi I wanted to read is Contact by Carl Sagan. This one is a first contact with aliens. I've been pretty much binge reading only that. I know there's a movie on it, but I don't know how recent it is, so I will probably read the book and then watch the movie. So speaking of first contact and movies, I recently picked up, it wasn't even in my haul yet, so next month probably, I picked up Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. This book contains a few short stories, one of them being what inspired the movie The Arrival. Yeah, and I actually rewatched it this month, and I enjoyed it, and I wanted to read the story to see how similar or not they are, and I might as well try more stories from the author. Another sci-fi first contact, because clearly I'm trying to read all of them, and that way I will be able to let you know which ones are the best ones. I wanted to read this one. This is Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke, and this is on so many lists of like best first contact, best sci-fi, and I've been like hoarding these SF masterworks because I love all the covers on these, and like you can see the ones that I have right now. So I wanted to read this because so many people are saying that I should at least try this one, since I've been like having a hit and miss since I've been having a little bit of a hard time with a few older sci-fi. So hopefully this one will be great. I will probably include this in a like 24-hour readathon that I'm hoping to do in May. I have a few other books, but we'll keep it for that video just in case I change my mind, because I probably will. Then I wanted to finally go back a little bit to fantasy, because I usually read way more fantasy than sci-fi, but not so far this year. But this one I have been really wanting to read because of the fact that I feel like I haven't been reading a lot of books with like really great female characters. So I wanted to read this one. This is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. The second book in this trilogy came out in the beginning of the month, and the whole trilogy is written already, and the next one will be published next year, so I won't have to wait too much in between books. So I'm very excited to be able to actually enjoy this series without stressing about it. And I believe this whole book contains like a bunch of female characters, or mostly, so very excited to finally read one of his books. And then last but not least, if I still have time to read more books, I'm hoping to continue the Magician's Trilogy by Lev Grossman, and this one is The Magician King, which is the second book in this series. I read The Magicians earlier this month, and I enjoyed it. I started watching a TV show and I realized that there was already spoilers for the second book, so I stopped doing that, and I'm hoping to continue reading, and then hopefully I will be enjoying the TV show afterwards. But I'm kind of curious how it's gonna go, because the story of the first book is really like, the first half is like their magical school, and then it's completely different, and I'm assuming it's continuing in that completely different phase. So yeah, a lot of people are saying that the second and third book are way better than the first one. We'll see how I feel about it. So those are all the books that I am hoping to read in May. Let me know in the comment section what books you are planning on reading this month, and also if you are planning on reading this one with me. I feel like not a lot of people are going to be into it, but maybe other people out there that watch are really into sci-fi. Actually, let me know in the comment section also your favorite sci-fi, like especially first contact aliens, because I've been like looking on the internet to try and find like all the best ones, so you're probably going to see that in a future haul, because I don't know, it's been my jam lately. I feel like I've exited the whole like post-apocalyptic people dying, and now I'm like, hey, aliens. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give this a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss any future videos. I will be putting on the screen the videos that I've done that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.